fortune recently to meet and play tennis with a beautiful and talented young actress, the star of the new NBC movie called Skyward. She's only 14 years old, so I figured Suzy Gilstrap could use a few pointers about the game of tennis. I figured wrong. It turns out that Suzy is something of a tennis champ and has won a number of awards. Some she's won while she was able-bodied, and some she has won in the last 3 years while in a wheelchair. A victim of a freak accident, her spinal cord was crushed by a falling tree branch, and her legs are useless. But believe me, her spirit and sense of humor are very much alive.
Hey, I have an idea
to
improve your game. Use both rackets.
You like to rub salt in my wounds, right?
Sure.
I'll tell you what, since I lost, loser buys the sodas, okay?
Okay.
You got it?
Great.
In contrast to Suzy's eternal good nature and optimism, she portrayed a young woman with quite a different attitude. The character's restricted environment and overprotective parents created a sense of inadequacy and then bitterness. In the movie, Suzy played a girl named Julie Ward.
Lisa, those are my best. Oh, Julie, what are you doing, dear?
I want to help.
Oh, no, darling, listen, it's all right. Why don't you watch some television?
In real life, Suzy's true parents, Chuck and Dana Gilstrap, realized that Suzy needed to be given as much freedom and responsibility as possible so she could begin again to take control of her own life.
I was determined that her life was going to be just as normal as possible. And the only time that it dawns on us that Suzy is in a wheelchair is when we come up against steps. It is amazing. Life is so normal for a handicapped person.
I was totally different from the character I played because I'm very open and close to my parents. And I feel like I can talk to them about anything.
I still get angry sometimes when I think about it because it isn't fair. Here she was feeding ducks at a park, and just out of the blue, she's injured. But it could have been so much worse. We could have lost her. But she was so terrific and still is terrific. That helped.
Dana, who got the first call about the movie?
We thought it was kind of a hoax. I mean, you know, right out of the blue, this phone call from Paramount.
Did you think it was one of Suzy's friends just playing a joke or something?
Or a crank call.
The casting director.
Well, it turned out to be the real thing, as Anson Williams, the producer of the film, explains.
The secretary of our casting director's friend of a friend heard about Suzy in a tennis game, and she was the last girl we saw. And she came in, and we had her read, and the basic thing that impressed us, aside from her personality and just being such a doll, was her ability to take direction. And she was a natural actress.
Suzy's performance in Skyward was remarkable by any standard, and even more so when you consider she was shooting for 6 grueling weeks in the Texas heat of last summer's drought.
Sorry.
What are you doing?
Her first time out, she worked with and won the respect of the best, as seen here with Betty Davis.
You know it.
No, you couldn't have. You're not experienced enough to land in that kind of a crosswind.
And if you don't think making a movie is hard work, let us show you the amount of time and energy it took to get one 30-second shot, while the film's director, Ron Howard, tells us about Suzy's talent and attitude.
She seems to be so positive about the things that she wants and what she's capable of doing that I don't think she feels she has any real serious limitations. My God, she has incredible energy, a great attitude, terrific mind. You know, she's a tremendous student, and I just think she's a winner.
Typical of the movie process, this scene had to be repeated a dozen times in the 2 hours that it took to shoot.
It can be dangerous in that thing. What are you doing?
I'm kind of in a hurry.
Well, let me give you a ride.
Suzy, how close was the character you played to your real-life situation?
I had a few instances, you know, where it played a little bit close, but mostly the times where Julie got very stubborn about wanting to do something. You know, she's supposed to be the little girl that can't do anything in the wheelchair. And that's when I get the most frustrated, because I'm trying to say, hey, I'm Suzy, I'm a person like everybody else. People have the tendency to be afraid of the chair. What we're trying to do with this movie is to try to teach people not to be afraid. We had a scene where it was a school dance, and Ben Marley, who played Scott, my boyfriend, took me to the dance, and my character was very afraid because she wasn't, sure how he would handle this. So he took her out to the dance floor and, you know, kind of said, you know, we can do this, where should I sit? And she said, sit on my armrest. So he sat there and put his arm around her and moved, you know, moved along in the crowd. It's really neat.
Just the way it used to sound through the Georgia pines. You were there to answer when I called. For you and me, we had it all.
The crew in the set that you worked on was really a crazy place. There was a lot of nuttiness going on there. Did you expect that?
No, I didn't. I have to be honest. I expected it to be real, all work, no play, but it was a lot of play.
We could see that Suzy's good nature was infectious on the set, and she made a lot of new friends. We understand she was also the victim of one of this crew's more peculiar traditions. And if you look over the camera operator's shoulder, you'll see she soon became a full-fledged co-conspirator.
You know, it strikes me that...
And because I was just a visitor on the set and minding my own business, I figured I'd be safe from Suzy and her friends. Again, I figured wrong. Well, the good feelings between Suzy and these people and the good job they are all doing will benefit everyone's understanding that handicapped people are just like you and me, and that no one can be held down or kept back if their spirit, like Suzy's, wants to soar.
I think a lot more people are becoming aware of the needs of people in chairs as them understanding what we can do instead of what we can't. My biggest goal is just to be myself and live life to the fullest.